Welcome to Disc 2. Disc 2 of Emancipation. Thanks for watching the first video. We've done Disc 1. Disc 2 should be an interesting video. Special shout out to Robert Lewin. I know how much you want me to do this one, so hopefully I'm going to do it some justice. I actually taped an earlier version before, but I deleted it because I think I sounded too tired. So I'm going to try take 2 here. Let's move straight into the video. Sex in the Summer. Okay, that's the first track on Disc 2. This song dates from mid to late 96. Again, it's got the new MPG, which is basically Cat and Rhonda, along with probably also the new guys like Michael Dyson on drums, and a lot of Prince also playing the other. It's also there's some solo Prince material, and interestingly too, Baby Armia. There is Baby's Armia heartbeat on the song. You can hear like the. Apparently, Prince was holding a recording microphone up to Mayte's stomach sometime in the summertime when he was 5 or 6 months along in her stomach, and basically, only with Prince would you introduce your unborn child to the music industry. Now, the song itself is something else. It's actually a very good song. Sex in the Summer is another sex jam, you know what I mean? Even though this disc is ballad heavy, I mean, there are a few sort of more X-rated songs on it that make it not quite as commercial as the stuff on disc 1. Sex in the Summer talks about, give me that number, we can party all night long, and talks about the wind blowing up a woman's dress and saying, running in your kitty and your pitties, playing in the sand, rub me forever, living while we can. Dun, dun. It's a very jaunty, upbeat song. Very nice, propelling it going. Dun, 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 dun. Sex in the summer, getting it on. Give me that number, we can party all night long. Prince is in a very fine baritone voice, very good harmony vocals. Also a really great drum beat, which has actually been stolen off a Funkadelic song by Funkadelic drummer Tiki Forward, who was one of the early drummers. He died quite early on in the piece. He's got that sort of big drum for that dum 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 dum. I mean, I'm not that familiar with Funkadelic's work. I've heard some of their stuff. I'm more sort of familiar with Parliament, sort of the funkier side, but Funkadelic was sort of definitely more sort of heavy rock side, and I mean, their album Maggot Brain and Cosmic Slop, that's all Funkadelic, whereas Parliament sort of the stuff like All Your Goodies Are Gone and Aqua Boogie and all that type of stuff, which is probably one of the greatest songs ever made, by the way. I need to sit down and spend some more time getting into George Clinton because, yeah, I mean, Sex in the Summer is an awesome jam. I gave it 8.5. It's in the top 12, just inside the top 12. It's definitely one of the best songs on the album. But even better next is One Kiss at a Time, the second track on this album. This is a fantastic song. Beautiful, smoochy, creamy ballad, totally aimed at Mayte. He wrote it in late 95, 96. It's basically another Prince solo joint, just Prince in the studio, just collecting all his feelings up, singing about how much he loves Mayte. And basically, it's got some very beautiful lyrics going, and we said, this is what you wanted, one kiss at a time. I got to be on my knees, could be alone, don't you, on this Valentine. If there's a man could love his woman the way that I love you. So you can just get some idea. He's singing in the creamiest falsettos. It's actually really, really sincere and heartfelt, and it's just a beautiful song. It's one of his finest ballads, you know what I mean? It's a bit soppy, but it's actually soppy in a really good way. It's just so professionally sung, you can look past any cheese factor in the song. I gave this song 10 out of 10, and it's basically in the top 6. This song is hot. Easily, it's one of the best songs on Emancipation and makes the whole thing worthwhile. I mean, Disc 2, I think Disc 1 gets off to a really strong start, so does Disc 2. There's only the clangers at the end. Okay, third song, Soul Sanctuary. This is another great song. It's actually got lots of strings. It's got Prince again singing falsetto going, loving you in silence, never ending kiss, I'm bounded by the tears I find. So again, lots of falsetto. He's reaching the high notes, very balletic backing, beautiful ballad again. It's aimed at Mayte. It's from the same. It's actually a bit earlier than the other songs. It was actually written by someone called Sandra St. Victor, and basically Prince got to use it. It appeared on something called the Versace Live, which was like some sort of bootleg or something. And it dates from early 95. Next we've got 8 out of 10. It's another good song. Second 12. Email, which is sort of like almost a bit of a throwaway jam. It's actually from a jam session. It's late. It's one of the last songs put on the album along with My Computer. I mean, it's talking about email, which is only really becoming well known in the mid to late 90s. Basically, Prince is talking about how he can meet love through a computer screen, and he talks about how people can break up with you on a computer screen. He talks about the declaration of war that follows. The answer is and it's actually basically about how sexual tension is unleashed through chatting to this woman on the on the basically computer. It's got a very catchy coda, www.email.com. The king takes the pawn again. So it's an average song, but again, what lifts it above the general Maya is basically Prince's singing. I mean, like I said, Prince is in fine voice throughout this album, and it's basically a Prince solo joint. It actually did, even though it's a jam session, it's really just Prince's voice, you know, here. I'd like to know actually what everyone else did. Okay, and then we got Curious Child. Now, this is a beautiful balletic pop song. I mean, virtually this whole, apart from Sex in the Summer, basically the middle 4 songs, even the second 5 songs basically on disc 2 are all very balletic, very sort of poetic type songs. They're all very smoochy ballads. They sort of set up the tone of the whole disc. This is definitely the I Love You Mayte one with some sex thrown in just for good measure. But Curious Child is beautiful. It's about basically some girl watching from the balcony. You know, she's saying the truth that we'll surely find. It's about a very pure girl giving her heart to a worldly man. Basically, of course, the pure girl is Mayte, of course. You know, basically at the same time she wants to know if she's making the right choice by settling down with Prince. So it's actually quite smart in the fact that he's trying to sing the song basically from a third person point of view. You know, like saying, do you really want to spend your life with me, Prince, you know, this worldly pop star. But again, the singing lifts it above the Maya. It's got the most beautiful strings. I'm almost certain it's Claire Fisher orchestration. It's just cream on the track, basically. A lot of people don't like this song. I absolutely fucking love it. It's actually top 6 for me, 9.5 out of 10. It's an absolute killer song. Okay, then we get to Dreaming About You. Now, this is a ballad. It's actually quite erotic, has a sort of more pop feel. If you listen, even though it sounds beautiful and balletic like the past 4 songs, if you listen closely, you can hear some pretty hot stuff going on here, like, you know, I mean, I want for you. Your tongue is a great persuader. It's got me sold. And he's singing in that breathy sort of sex voice. In some ways, it's a bit of a sex ballad, but it's just, again, like everything else in Emancipation, it's just too overproduced. It's all right. I gave it 7. I mean, 7, like I said, is a decent mark. It's not a good mark or a bad mark. It's just very much, you know, it's just an album song. I mean, but it does have a good chorus. When I'm alone in my room, I can't stop thinking about you. Every time I do what I need to do, oh, I just dream about you, yeah, baby. Yeah, some good, you know, sort of guitar licks going on there too. And it dates from mid-96, so almost certainly that goes guitar licks are probably Rhonda and Cat. It's probably Cat Dyson playing those guitar licks, basically. So it's pretty good, you know, 7 out of, maybe I might even put up 7.5. And then we've got a part at the end where you hear this woman speaking Spanish. You know, I don't understand. Apparently it's Janelle, who also did the vocals back on the Yo Vide, yo check out that ass thing back on disc 1. Then we move into probably the most perplexing song on the whole disc. It's just bizarre. Joint to Joint. Joint to Joint is more a free act circus than an actual song. There's the first act is basically Princess just singing, going, if we ever naked in the same machine, I want to kick a baby joint to joint. And you've got these codas with basically 99. The rapper comes in and ruins it with her rap. You've got the ad libs for the song going, sex me if we're ever naked in the same machine. Sex me. And then at the end she does her rap called Burns, and that's off her album Burns. Goes, to let Burns remains. Now I know your Tom, Dicks and Harrys ain't the same. Drip of poison to your lower lips. Ow. And then after her rapping, it goes into a tap dance solo. Apparently by someone called Savion Glover, and you hear this like, and it's actually quite good. You hear like this, dun, 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 and Prince go joint to joint, and then you hear like this tapping, and the tapping's actually quite there. It goes, and then there's the third part, which is basically where all the music stops. You just got the backing sounds, and then Prince starts to go, you don't even know what you call me soulmates, yeah, great. You don't even know what kind of cereal I like, Captain Crunch, because soybean milk, because cows are for cows. What you do? You take me for an ass. You don't love me. You're just a hater. You only want me for my paper. And it's actually quite prophetic. But the first time ever we hear Prince declare fully that he's a vegan, and basically the vegan theme is carried on into the truth, you know, where he does Animal Kingdom. So it's a bloody interesting song. It's pretty good. I mean, I actually gave it only 6.5 because it does really go on. It gets pretty stupid at times, but it's probably one of his most ambitious songs, and things only get more ambitious as we plough into this CD. Up to track 8, we've got one fantastic song coming up, that's The Holy River. The Holy River is a truly spiritual song. It's basically about Christian rediscovery. It's before Jehovah's Witness, but basically Prince is talking about going down to the Holy River, and if you believe you'll be delivered. You know, if you don't, then you'll never see the light. We got to come back before we try. Again, Prince is singing some very beautiful songs. You've got the strings rolling along behind him. Beautiful sounds. You know, he's got the beautiful falsetto voice going, let's go down to the Holy River. If you drown, then you'll be delivered. Now, both of these songs are late 95, early 96, but the best part about the Holy River, even of all the singing, you go, Jesus, Jesus, and over you ask your soul, why'd you come down to a world so cold? And tonight the truth will be told, and I was really listening, hear me. Let's go down to the Holy River. It's just another song that requires you buy these albums, because this song is great, but even to make it better still, after all the gospel singing, you have this guitar solo that comes in around 4.5 minutes, and this guitar solo is blow your head off good. It's just amazing. It's like a real heavy rock guitar solo, like kind of like the type of guitar solo you hear on some of his more rocked out tracks. Chaos and Disorder, there's some really good guitar soloing in the songs. I like it there, for instance, but this is almost like the guitar solo in Purple Rain. I mean, this solo is just wow. It goes on for about a whole minute and a half. And also, too, The Holy River was the second single on the album. It didn't do that well. It only got to about number 60 on the charts, but at the same time, it had absolutely no promotional muscle behind it. Of course, the other song that was the B-side to The Holy River was Somebody. And as I mentioned in the first video, that's already just a fantastic song by itself. So why it didn't sell more copies is beyond me. And also, that single came with a set. I'll talk about singles in another video, but came with a set of picture postcards showing Prince, whereas the first single came with a poster. So he was really pushing his album. But Holy River, I mean, oh my God, what a great song. And then we move 10 out of 10, by the way. Yep, absolutely one of the very best songs. It's up there with basically One Kiss at a Time and The Love We Make. That's how good it is. When we talk about the best songs on Emancipation, The Holy River is right up there. You know, it's just an absolute must-listen to song. You know, and on any given day, it would be my favourite song on the album, but I think The Love We Make might just pip it. Okay, I mean, One Kiss at a Time is a fantastic song. It's a 10 out of 10 song, but it's not quite on the level of The Holy River and The Love We Make. Okay, now moving along, the songs don't get so good. We've got Let's Have a Baby. Now, this is again another sort of soppy, gooey, I Love Mayte ballad. You know, it's all right. I mean, I didn't really get into it when the album came out. I go into it a bit more now, but there's actually some very prophetic things go, let's fall in love, let's have a baby. Ooh, and then it goes into a part where he's talking, you know, I mean, I can't remember that much from the song. It's actually very forgettable. It's just a bit too soppy. I gave it 6 out of 10, but some more facts about it. It was a Prince solo joint again from late 95, probably very early 96, because apparently when Prince and Mayte got married, that song was actually playing at the wedding pretty much telling Mayte what Prince wanted to do now they were man and wife. And of course, this is around the time that Amir was almost certainly conceived. And then we move into another perplexing song. I gave it 6 out of 10. Saviour. Now, Saviour is a song that divides fans because it's like joint to joint. The song starts off really great, but then it just degenerates into absolute self-indulgence cringe fest. I don't mind it because, as you know, I'm a big fan of Prince's screaming, and Prince just screams his head off at the end of the song. A lot of people don't. They just like push the skip button after 3 minutes. Now, Saviour is, again, it's about Mayte. It's about how Mayte saved him from a life of being single and philandering around with other women. And he goes, you're my destiny, you are my power, baby. How could I ever come this far without you, baby? That was before my eyes had seen the light. Ooh, you made love to another, couldn't do it, no way. You're my savior, my destiny, the only one that treats me right. I can say we're like two petals from the same flower, baby. The singing is incredible. Prince is in really fine voice. It's not really any falsetto. It's just him singing his baritone and his deep growl and scream. But at the end, it goes, you're my savior, yeah, 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 yeah. And the screaming, I mean, you guys are going to crazy. He's going, yeah, 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 yeah. He just screams all the way to the end. Go, you're my savior, you're my flower, yeah, you're my savior. And the whole song just degenerates in a whole noise of guitars and feedback and just Prince screaming his head off, and it just gets really silly. But still, I love it. I gave it 8 out of 10. If you cut out the screaming and self-indulgence, then I would have given it 10 out of 10. It's a wonderful song. And it's in the middle 12, basically. And then, are you ready for this? We move from that to the very worst song on the album. And it doesn't even really count as a song, in my opinion. The worst song's on disc 3. This is really just basically 100 seconds of music. Just, again, Prince is trying to fill up a disc. And this is the plan. Now, the plan is just basically some ballet movements from the Kama Sutra ballet. It's just a bit of boom, boom, instrumental shit. I can't even sing it. It's that bad. I gave it the lowest possible score of 1 out of 10. It's just filler. You just hit the skip button straight away. And then realistically for me, this disc finishes with the song Saviour, because The last song, now a lot of fans love this song. I'm not a fan of it at all. I just don't get it. It's just weird. And that's friend, lover, sister, mother, wife. Okay, there is some very good sort of sonic experiments in there, you know. There's some good, you know, mixed up vocals. It's a bit distorted. It goes on for about 5 or 6 minutes, and it's just sorry, I just can't get it, eh? But I mean, again, it dates from early '96. There's another Prince solo cut, but again, of course, obviously the song is about Mayte Garcia. Sorry, I just don't get it. I can't remember it much. It's very forgettable. I gave it 3 out of 10 anyway because, you know, I guess it's there. It's actually a bit better than The Plan. I mean, it is actually a song. I mean, a lot of fans get off on it, but I just don't. And there's disc 2. Now, what you're going to see is that when we head into disc 3, you're going to find that the quality shoots amazingly downwards. But this one, track 12, Friend, Lover, Sister, Mother, Wife, the sparse electronic sound is very similar to the first 4 cuts on basically disc 3 as well. Unfortunately, I think if Prince had actually just basically chopped off a couple of the fillers on these 2 discs, thrown in One of Us, The Love We Make, and maybe Style from the 3rd disc, and just put out a really slamming 2-disc set, Emancipation would have been a lot better. But overall, this disc I gave it an 8, slightly better than disc 1. I mean, disc 2 is probably, like I said, the best disc on the album, but realistically, only the first 10 songs, and then out of that, realistically, you could probably knock out Joint to Joint and Dreaming About You. They're kind of just, you know, really album songs. So that leaves 8 songs which I just consider to be absolutely incredible songs, you know what I mean? Especially One Kiss at a Time and The Holy River. The Saviour is pretty good too, the first few minutes of Anyway. I mean, Sex in the Summer is an absolutely slamming party jam. Curious Child is a beautiful piece of balladic music. I mean, I think that disc 2 also is by far the most profound disc and the most spiritual disc on the album. I mean, it's definitely Prince. He's just bearing his heart out in these songs. I mean, like I said, the first album was definitely, you know, sort of like the artificial age. It was like all the party music, and it was all sort of like, you know, let's go out and dance. You know, it's like the type of upbeat party pop and, you know, R&B music you expect off Prince. But this one is definitely more ballads. This is basically, if you have to understand the Emancipation album, you have to understand that 90% of it was about Mayte, just about how Prince had turned the corner. He had this beautiful wife. He was about to be this father of all these children, and also he was free from his record label. Emancipation was the turning point in Prince's life, and no disc on Emancipation really sums that up better than disc 2, because it's all here basically. I mean, like I said, I mean, you all got to listen to this album. I mean, just put it on, because there are some really good songs here. Again, like disc 1, the sequencing of the album is absolutely atrocious. Although it's a wee bit better this time, the fact that tracks 2 to 6 really do have a sort of similar sound, a balletic sound to them. But track 1 seems out of place because it's definitely an upbeat party song you can almost shove back onto disc 1. And then the songs after, I mean, they all sound different. I mean, track 7 is very much another upbeat dance song done not very well. 8 is the beautiful spiritual pop ballad, The Holy River. 9 is sort of like, again, another slowed down balletic song, Let's Have a Baby. 10 is, again, a very overdone pop ballad, a lot like The Sacrifice of Victor in a lot of ways. 11 is just basically some badly inserted music, and 12 is sort of like some sort of sparse dance experiment, which you could roll over onto disc 3. So, again, Emancipation is just one of those albums where Prince, I just think basically Prince just basically threw the kitchen sink into it. So, there you are. Disc 3 is coming soon, and yes, you probably have noticed that my hair has shortened considerably since disc 1. And again, shout outs to Robert Viluan. Yep. Apologies if I got your name wrong, but thank you, dude. I love all your comments. I love the fact that you really are watching these videos. And everyone else, I mean, seriously, do some commenting. Fuck, there's like no damn comments on these videos. I mean, have I done something wrong? Like, is there some button that's forbidding you from doing something? If I do, I want to know, because I'm not an expert with YouTube yet. And if you're unwell, try and stay well, basically, you know, yeah. I mean, if you're stuck in the house, I mean, there's plenty of my videos you can sit around and watch. But there you are. Peace and be wild. And I'm going to do disc 3 very soon.